to change my mood when I walked down the street and came home.
James gives the example, which I agree with, that, you know, on your way home from work, if you make the effort to regulate your mood to the extent that you can.
I would put on my favorite song, even if I was in kind of a bad mood, to try and just give myself a temporary boost so that when I walked in the door, that I could make myself happier and therefore make my family happier and everyone in their lives happier.
If you see that, you know, Betty is kind to Jane and Jane is kind to Sue and Sue is kind to Robert, you can see the signature of Betty's kindness to Jane in Sue's behavior with Robert, even though Sue and Robert never interacted with Betty.
Well, this is all very nice, but, I mean, how do we know that doing something for others is worth the effort? Unless we're sure that it's going to pay off, we're probably not going to do it. I mean, we can cut our smoking, but does that mean that we can turn the world around?
Do you think that being moral actually pays off?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
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 Depending on the situation.
It's as contagious as anything that would be bad, too. So I think the more we all do that, the more we spread it around.
Everybody has the power to do so. It starts on me and passes it on to others.
The reason why morality pays off is because we have an influence on the decisions of people around us. When they copy our moral behavior, then this is going to spread through the network, and it also has this tendency to ripple out and bounce back towards us. We surround ourselves with people who are doing good by doing good ourselves. And when we live in that kind of environment, I can't help but think that this is the way that we succeed, that we survive, that we reproduce these ideas, and we create a better future for ourselves.
Já mám na to takový přirovnání našeho příběhu, českého příběhu, kdy ta opozice, ti disidenti takzvaní, byli všemi považováni za blázny, protože se to zítra nebo pozítří nezmění v nějaký konkrétní úspěch, to jejich počínání. A ono se posléze v jakýsi úspěch změnilo. Že ale nebylo to proto, že jsme kalkulovali s tím, že zítra nebo pozítří se to stane, i když bychom to uvítali, ale prostě proto, že jsme to dělali z principu.
Is it important to be moral?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Of course.
Well.
Proč vlastně člověk páchá občas dobro, když o tom nikdo neví? No to je možné jenom proto, že ve vás dříme, byť nevědomně, jakýsi pozorovatel, který to všechno, co děláte, vidí. No a co to je jiného než věčnost, než nekonečno? Něco, co přesahuje všechny myslitelné horizonty našeho počínání.
Do you feel motivated? Energized to do something? Maybe it's the piano music. If I could remind you, a few moments ago you briefly considered being a psychopath. It's okay. It's a surprising function of our brains that we can hold radically opposite views simultaneously. It's a natural part of our makeup.
In times like these where there is this madness, it becomes really important to remember that what basically is going on in the world is how you are with the people immediately at hand and how you treat yourself and your children and the people directly around you. And yeah, there will be winds and weather and economic storms and social storms and political catastrophes and much that is incomprehensible. But what goes on, you know, eye to eye, face to face, heart to heart, day to day, remains the same.
Všechno začíná u drobných věcí. Nemusí člověk vymýšlet vize lepšího světa. Stačí, když se v tom prostoru, v němž se pohybuje, když se začne chovat slušněji, v souladu se svým svědomím, nikoliv tak, aby měl onen nepříjemný pocit upatlanosti, že a stačí, když to dělá v tom svém mikrosvětě a ono to může se šířit, rozrůstat jako epidemie a také nemusí, zůstane to navždy v tom jeho mikrosvětě. Ale stojí to vždycky za to.
If I was always violent towards you, or gave you deadly germs, or made you sad, or gave you misinformation, you would cut the ties to me and the network would disintegrate. Therefore, the spread of some good and desirable properties, like altruism and love and happiness and ideas, is required to sustain and nurture the network. And similarly, the network is required for these desirable things to happen. So there's a very deep connection, we think, between social networks and goodness. And actually, we think that in a very deep level, human beings assemble themselves into networks because the benefits of a connected life outweigh the costs.
I've been studying the human condition for more than 40 years, focusing primarily on what makes ordinary people get seduced into evil. But now I realize, and I'm aware, that most ordinary people are really basically good. But they're good and passive. They're really not going to get seduced to evil, but they're not going to be willing to put in the energy to be a hero. And what we're trying to do is create a social movement in which we want to give voice to the silent heroes out there. Because there are many people who have the potential to be really important heroes, not only for their family, for their neighborhood, for the community, but for the nation. And so in the audience out there, there are many Vaclav Havels who are living in environments where there is injustice, where there are drug cartels, where there is corruption of various kinds, where there's bullying in almost every classroom. And it's our job to help amplify your silent voice. And it's your job to be willing to step across the line, to take action, to say, this is wrong.
So imagine that the most charismatic, handsome person looks you directly in the eye and says, you can save the world. What would you do? We can deal with the fish head if we remember that we're in this together. And we stop looking at the top of the pyramid where the celebrities and the leaders are, and we look side to side. The advantage of being in a herd is that when as few as 5 to 6% of the total population becomes aware of something, like danger, for instance, nearly everyone becomes aware. And our success is going to depend on the answer to two questions. How many are we? How close are we to the 5 to 6%? And what will you do?